My grandmother left her $3 million estate to my son, and no one else. Now my family hates us. When my grandmother passed away earlier this year, I thought the hardest part would be saying goodbye. I was wrong. The hardest part turned out to be what came after, the moment her will was read and my entire family turned against me and my 8-year-old son. My grandmother, Eleanor, was 92 when she died. She was a strong, sharp, no-nonsense woman who built her wealth through decades of hard work. She had owned several rental properties, a small chain of local bakeries, and she'd invested wisely in real estate back in the 80s. By the time she passed, her estate was worth a little over $3 million. Everyone in the family, my aunts, uncles, cousins, had been waiting for that inheritance. I don't mean they were hoping for a kind gesture. I mean, they counted on it. They'd treat Grandma like royalty every holiday, bringing her expensive gifts, flattering her endlessly, pretending to care. I used to joke that she could have started her own cult with the way they worshipped her during family gatherings. Me? I was the black sheep. I didn't have time for fake smiles. I visited her every weekend, not for money, not for favors, but because I actually loved her. My son, Liam, adored her too. They'd bake cookies together, watch old movies, and feed the birds in her garden. I never expected anything from her. I just wanted Liam to know her before it was too late. When she passed, my relatives turned her funeral into a performance. My aunt cried so loudly it was almost theatrical. My uncle kept whispering about how much the properties were worth. I stayed quiet, sitting beside my son, who held a small photo of her. A week later, we were all invited to the lawyer's office for the will reading. My family came dressed like they were going to a red carpet event, expensive suits, fake smiles, and all. The lawyer, Mr. Green, opened a folder and began reading. To my eldest daughter, Margaret, I leave my love, but no monetary inheritance. You have already received my help throughout the years. Aunt Margaret's smile froze. To my son, Harold, I leave the same. I trust you to stand on your own 2 feet. Uncle Harold looked like he'd been slapped. The lawyer continued, listing more relatives, all receiving nothing but love. You could feel the air tighten with every name. Then he got to the last part. The entirety of my estate, valued at approximately $3 million, including all properties, savings, and assets, I leave to my great-grandson, Liam. The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. My aunt gasped so loudly it startled Liam. My uncle slammed his hand on the table. What? To that kid? He's 8. Mr. Green calmly replied, yes. To Liam. His inheritance will be held in a trust until he turns 21. His mother, as guardian, will oversee it until then. And just like that, my entire family turned on me. They accused me of manipulating Grandma, of turning her against everyone. My aunt even called me a gold digger through my own child. It was insane. Here's the thing, Grandma knew exactly what she was doing. She once told me, they only visit me when they need something. You visit me because you care. Liam reminds me what family is supposed to feel like. She made her decision long before she died. I didn't influence her. If anything, she kept it secret so no one could talk her out of it. Since then, my family has cut all contact. They've sent me threatening messages, tried to contest the will, unsuccessfully, and even showed up at my house demanding a fair share. My lawyer told them point blank, the will is airtight. Grandma planned it with precision. But the worst part? The guilt. Not because we did anything wrong, but because I see how it's affected Liam. He misses his cousins. He doesn't understand why they don't talk to him anymore. He told me once, Grandma didn't mean to make everyone mad. I hugged him and said, she didn't, honey. She just wanted to make sure you'd always be okay. It's been 6 months now. We've moved into one of Grandma's old homes, the one with her rose garden. Every morning, Liam waters the flowers she planted decades ago. He still talks to her picture, telling her about school and soccer practice. Sometimes I think about my family and wonder if they'll ever realize what they lost, not the money, but the woman who loved them despite everything. As for me, I'll make sure Grandma's gift isn't wasted. Liam will grow up knowing what hard work and love really mean. Because that's what she left us, not just the money, but a lesson: real family doesn't need to be bought. It's been about a year since my grandmother's will turned my family upside down. I thought the chaos would fade once the lawyers finished and everyone accepted that the money was gone. But greed doesn't just disappear, it festers. And lately, I've realized my family isn't done with us. After the will reading, everyone went silent for months. No calls, no visits, no holiday cards. I won't lie, part of me felt relieved. For the first time in years, I didn't have to deal with my Aunt Margaret's judgmental stares or my Uncle Harold's financial advice. But peace doesn't last long in this family. It started around Liam's 9th birthday. We threw a small party in the backyard, just a few of his friends from school. I posted a few harmless photos online, Liam smiling, blowing candles, holding his favorite soccer ball. A few days later, I got a text from an unknown number. "Looks like our little millionaire is growing up fast." I froze. The message was followed by a photo, one of the pictures from the party. It wasn't taken from my profile. It looked like it had been snapped from outside the fence. That same week, Liam's school called me. Apparently, a woman had shown up claiming to be his great-aunt and asked to pick him up early. Thankfully, the school refused and called me immediately. When I arrived, the woman was gone. But the description fit my Aunt Margaret. I called my lawyer that night. He told me to document everything. They might be trying to find loopholes, he warned. Or they could be setting up a case to argue you're unfit as guardian. That thought terrified me. You'd think a multi-million-dollar trust would feel like security. But lately, it feels like a target on my back. A few weeks later, Uncle Harold called me for the first time since the will reading. He started off sounding almost nice. Said he wanted to make amends and reconnect as a family. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him for coffee. He showed up all smiles, wearing a new Rolex. "Look," he began, "we all handled things badly last year. But we're family. Grandma wouldn't have wanted this tension between us." I didn't say anything. I just watched him stir his coffee for a full minute before he continued. "I've been thinking, the inheritance, it's just sitting there. Liam's a kid, he doesn't even understand money. Maybe we could help each other. You could invest a portion with me. I've got business opportunities that could triple your returns before he's even 18. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe how predictable he was. "No," I said simply. His smile vanished. "You're being selfish," he snapped. "Grandma wanted to help the family. Not just you." "Grandma made her choice," I replied, standing up. "You just don't like it." After that meeting, things escalated quickly. Someone broke into our mailbox. Then our car tires were slashed one night. The police couldn't prove who did it, but I had my suspicions. One day, Liam came home from school looking confused. He told me that Uncle Harold had been waiting near the school gate and gave him a little toy car. That was it. I lost it. I called my lawyer, and we immediately filed for a restraining order against both my aunt and uncle. The court granted it within a week. I also hired private security for our property. It felt extreme, but I couldn't take chances with my son's safety. A month later, I found out through mutual friends that my family had started spreading rumors, that I was mentally unstable, that I was isolating Liam and brainwashing him against his relatives. It was all part of a manipulation attempt to make me look unfit. But the truth has a way of surfacing. One of Grandma's old friends, Mrs. Collins, came forward with letters, actual handwritten letters from my grandmother. In them, she explicitly stated her reasons for leaving everything to Liam. She wrote, "They see me as a wallet. He sees me as family. I want my legacy to go to love, not greed. Those words shut down any remaining legal challenge. The court reaffirmed the trust. My family had no path left. You'd think that would finally make them stop. But greed doesn't stop when the law says no, it just hides, waiting. Just last week, Aunt Margaret tried to message Liam online through a fake account pretending to be one of his classmates. Thankfully, he's a smart kid. He showed me immediately. When I read the messages, my stomach turned. She was trying to convince him that I'd stolen Grandma's money and that real family deserved some of it. I reported the account, blocked her, and sat down with Liam. I told him everything, the truth about the inheritance, about why Grandma did what she did. He listened quietly, and then said something that nearly made me cry. Grandma trusted me, right? Then I should make sure I deserve it. He's 9. 9 years old, and already more decent than anyone else in our bloodline. I know they'll try again, maybe when he's older, maybe when I'm gone. But I'm doing everything I can to protect him and that legacy. I'm putting the money into a managed trust, with strict conditions. He'll get access only after college, and only if he meets certain life goals: education, work, responsibility. Grandma didn't just leave us money. She left us a challenge, to be better than the rest. And as long as I'm alive, I'll make sure Liam never forgets that. It's been 12 years since my grandmother's will tore my family apart. My son, Liam, just turned 21, the age when the trust finally becomes his. And as much as I'd like to say time healed everything, it didn't. If anything, it only made the wounds fester deeper. For a long time, things were quiet. After the restraining orders, the lawyers, and the drama, the rest of my family went silent. I thought maybe they'd finally given up. Liam grew up in peace, no harassment, no manipulation. He focused on school, soccer, and his dream of studying environmental engineering. He's a good kid, humble, smart, kind. He rarely talks about the inheritance, even though he knows it's there. To him, the money has always been Grandma's gift, not a prize. But people change when they smell opportunity. And when Liam turned 21 last month, the vultures started circling again. It began with a letter. Not an email, an actual letter with my Aunt Margaret's handwriting. Dear Liam. I know you're a grown man now. I've missed you terribly. You were always so sweet, and I've always loved you, no matter what happened with your mother. I hope we can talk again, just family, no lawyers. Love, Aunt Margaret. Liam showed it to me immediately. He said, she doesn't even mention Grandma. Just herself. I told him to ignore it. But Liam's a kind soul, maybe too kind. He said, Mom, I just want to hear what she has to say. I'm not giving her anything, I promise. Against my instincts, I let him meet her, in a public cafe, with one of my lawyer friends nearby just in case. When he came home that night, he looked disappointed. Not angry, not hurt, just sad. She didn't ask how I'd been, he said quietly. She asked how much money I have access to. Then she said she and Uncle Harold are having financial troubles and that Grandma would want me to help family in need. I asked what he said. He looked me straight in the eyes and replied, I told her Grandma helped her plenty while she was alive, she just never appreciated it. I couldn't have been prouder. But apparently, Aunt Margaret didn't take rejection well. Because a week later, my uncle showed up at Liam's university. Security escorted him off campus after he caused a scene, yelling about ungrateful kids and stolen blood money. Then came the online harassment. Someone created fake Reddit and Facebook accounts, posting things like, rich boy forgets where he came from and greedy heir cuts off his family. Liam ignored it for a while, until one day he came to me and said, Mom, I think they're trying to ruin my name. He was right. My uncle had actually gone to the local paper, spinning a story that I'd manipulated my mother into writing that will. He called it elder exploitation. He claimed I'd brainwashed her. The paper printed a short version online, nothing major, but enough to sting. We could have ignored it, but Liam wanted to take the high road. He posted his own open letter on Reddit, not to defend the money, but to tell his grandmother's story. He wrote, "My great-grandmother wasn't rich her whole life. She earned every cent by working from dawn to dusk. She saw through people, especially the ones who treated her like an ATM. She left me this inheritance, not because I asked, but because she wanted to prove that love, not greed, should carry her name. I'll spend this money building something that lasts longer than any argument." That post blew up. Thousands of comments. People praising his maturity, others sharing their own stories of family greed. It changed everything. Suddenly, my family's smear campaign backfired. No one saw them as victims anymore, they saw them as bitter relatives obsessed with money that was never theirs. But here's where things got complicated. 2 weeks ago, Liam sat me down. He looked serious, older than his years. "Mom," he said, "I want to use part of Grandma's money to start a scholarship in her name, for kids from working-class families. She believed in second chances, right?" I almost cried. That's exactly what Grandma would have wanted. But then he said something that caught me off guard. "And I also want to send Aunt Margaret and Uncle Harold each a letter. Not money. Just words." He wrote them both personally. I didn't ask to read them, but later, he showed me. "I forgive you. I don't hate you. But I won't reward cruelty or greed. Grandma's legacy is love, not revenge. I hope someday you find peace, the same peace I finally have." He mailed them last week. Yesterday, we got one response, a single envelope in the mail, no return address. Inside was a small photo, my grandmother, smiling in her garden, with little Liam sitting beside her. On the back, someone had written, "She'd be proud." No signature. But I recognized the handwriting, my aunt's. Maybe, just maybe, that was the closest thing we'll ever get to peace. Now, as I watch Liam preparing to leave for graduate school, I realize something: the money was never the true inheritance. The strength, the decency, the ability to rise above greed, that's what Grandma really gave him. Her fortune didn't divide us. It revealed who we truly were. And in the end, I think that's exactly what she wanted. It's been 5 years since Liam became the full owner of my grandmother's estate. He's 26 now, and every day, I see more and more of her spirit in him, her quiet strength, her sense of justice, her refusal to let greed define him. After the chaos with the family died down, Liam stayed true to his word. He used a portion of the inheritance, about $500,000, to start the Eleanor Foundation, a scholarship program for underprivileged students who dream of studying environmental sciences. He wanted to turn Grandma's money into something that would last longer than a lifetime. It worked. The foundation grew fast. Every year, dozens of students got their chance at education, and local papers started writing about the young philanthropist who turned family fortune into opportunity. I couldn't have been prouder. But peace in our story didn't come easily. One day, Liam got a call from the foundation's accountant. There'd been a strange email from someone pretending to be him, asking to redirect a portion of funds to a private investment project. Thankfully, the accountant verified with him before acting, and we quickly traced the message. It came from a laptop registered under my Uncle Harold's name. Even after all these years, they still hadn't changed. We didn't press charges. Liam said something that stopped me in my tracks. "They already punished themselves, Mom. They'll spend their lives chasing something they can never have, peace." And he was right. The following month, Aunt Margaret passed away. We didn't hear about it until after the funeral. Someone mailed us a small package with no note, just an envelope containing one thing: Grandma's old silver locket. Inside was a faded picture of Grandma holding baby Liam. That was the moment I finally let go of the anger. Liam decided to name the next scholarship class after both women, the Eleanor and Margaret Award. He said it was his way of closing the circle. "Grandma taught me love," he told me, "but maybe Aunt Margaret taught me forgiveness." Last week, I visited Grandma's grave for the first time in years. The cemetery was quiet, the wind soft, the same rose bushes she loved blooming around her headstone. Liam placed a single flower, one of the roses he'd planted from her garden, and whispered, "We did it, Grandma. We made you proud." And I swear, in that moment, the world felt lighter. No more fear, no more greed, no more bitterness, just peace. Grandma's inheritance didn't just give Liam money. It gave him purpose. It turned pain into compassion, and betrayal into wisdom. As we walked back to the car, Liam looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Maybe her real legacy wasn't the 3 million, Mom. Maybe it was showing us what to do with it." He's right. Because in the end, the greatest inheritance isn't wealth. It's character. And that's something no one can ever steal. The end.